Many artists are boycotting the Grammys, but we're making our predictions.
The Super Bowl is this Sunday.
Plus, Beyonce's breakup with twins. Will she still perform at Coachella?
All this coming at you on Completely Weekly.
This episode of Completely Weekly is brought to you by Intuit TurboTax. Relax, there's TurboTax. What's up, you guys? You're back at the weekly show. I'm with a few of my favorite people.
Just a couple.
Hello, welcome. Yes. Are you guys happy to be here?
Obviously.
Yeah.
Great.
There's so much to talk about.
We're breaking down so much in today's show. So if you want to see our game that's surrounding the best album at the Grammys, you can click on that button.
On that button.
On
I
that
love
button.
how you say button. It's one of my favorite things ever. Or if you're into hashtag sports, like the Super Bowl, we're going to be talking about our predictions for that coming up later.
Or we're also doing our favorite clickbait Storytime segment.
Who's going to win? The suspense. But first, actually not first, but also later, we're going to talk about which celebrities had the best week ever and the worst week ever on our good week, bad week segment.
Gotta do that. But first up, we are talking about artists that are boycotting the Grammys.
This is a thing?
Can you even believe it? So the first person that actually came out talking about not attending the Grammys was none other than our homie Justin Bieber.
Not shocking.
There he is right there, my home
rare
slice. He's just saying that he doesn't necessarily agree with what the Grammys represents, and the thing that gets me is he's actually nominated for 4 Grammys himself, including the most honorable one, which happens to be Album of the Year.
Yep.
He's not the only person that has said that they won't be attending the Grammys. Also standing by his side is Kanye West, Frank Ocean, and Drake.
But don't they all have like other reasons for not going besides just being like, I'm not showing up?
Well, Drake is on tour right now.
Right,
so
which is
like
a very good
overseas.
reason.
So he's going to be in England on the night of the Grammys, so he's not going to be there. But people like Frank Ocean and Justin Bieber, they're reportedly just upset that the Grammys don't support young artists in their vein, and they don't find that the Grammy Awards are relevant in any way at all.
I wish I could just like eye roll myself into another dimension right now. This is not a good look. This is just, I feel like being ungrateful. I think the whole idea of being nominated, I know it's cliche, but cliches are by definition time-worn expressions or ideas, meaning they're true. Being nominated is cool.
Right.
Like, I would like to be nominated for a Grammy.
On the other side of that, though, Jocelyn, you've been to award shows. You know how calculated they are, how fake they feel on the inside. I know
you're right.
Audiences do love to watch award shows because it's celebrating people we love. You get to see them in the flesh, a lot of potential for drama. But as an artist and as somebody like Justin Bieber, I do feel like going to those shows time and time again would make him feel inauthentic, which I feel like he has voiced time and time again.
I think as far as Justin Bieber's concerned, I think this might have less to do with irrelevancy and more to do with Selena Gomez and The Weeknd possibly showing up together, possibly walking the red carpet together, and probably going to be sitting together and getting a lot of camera time. I think Justin is still a little butthurt over the whole Selena thing. Obviously, he's not a big fan of The Weeknd. He's spoken out about that multiple times. I think for him, it's saving face. Because he's always been to the Grammys. He's performed at the Grammys before, so I don't think it's about relevancy. I think he doesn't want to be caught in the same room with those
I feel
two.
like at the same time, though, he deleted his Instagram, and I feel like he's trying to make personal leaps. And I feel like for that, he might in turn be thinking that the Grammys just aren't for him. I would love to see Justin at the Grammys because you guys all know how I feel about Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
My biggest thing is, like, if you're saying that you're not being represented at the Grammys, then how can you back that up when you've got 4 nominations?
Exactly.
Because you are being really well represented at the Grammys. Actually,
I think
people
he's
are recognizing
also
you.
talking about younger artists a lot, or bringing up young black artists that aren't being supported. But if you think about it, if we're thinking about the Grammys, even Beyonce, the queen herself, has never won Album of the Year before.
It is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And also Alison Krauss, who is an artist
Oh my
that
gosh.
you might like to Google her. She has the most Grammys for a female artist. She's won 27 Grammys, and no one really knows who she is. So a lot of people are wondering who is making the decision on who wins a Grammy or not. But honestly, I feel like we have so many award shows these days that relevancy, I kind of feel like they're all starting to become irrelevant. They're all doing the same dance. They're all doing the same thing. I get burnt out on watching them. If I were a celebrity, I get burnt out on even going to them.
And the hype around it, getting ready for them, all the press, all the things.
I would just love to see Justin Bieber show up and gracefully lose, because I think it says so much more about a person, especially someone in the public eye who so many people look up to, whether or not he likes that or not. If he could show up and lose gracefully.
Why are you thinking he's going to lose,
Because
Jocelyn?
he's up against Adele and Beyonce.
Hey,
like,
his album
come
was
on.
great.
I
His
love
album
Purpose.
is one of my favorite albums of the year.
When we
Justin
came back from
Bieber.
Amazing Race, the first two things I did were by Adele and Bieber.
Justin. Yeah,
I love
for
them both,
sure.
but like as for winning, I feel like Sturgill might have the one.
Oh my gosh. All right,
Sturge.
let's talk about some artists that have been snubbed. A lot of people are very upset that Zayn, no longer Malik, has not been nominated for Best New Artist, which he did just win at the AMA. So people are freaking out, being like, he's not even nominated for
But
Best
he's
New
not
Artist.
technically a new artist.
No.
He's been around and performing in front of people with One Direction for years and years and years. I like that they maybe reserve those spots for artists who already don't have that kind of experience and exposure. So I'm happy he didn't make new artists.
And that's what the Grammys came back saying. They said legally, or like, if so they could get away with it. They said that technically he's not a new artist and he's seen this stage many of times and he's toured around the world
give
with the
someone else
band
a
already. Sia is another one that's being left out of the mix. I mean, she is
She's
nominated.
been around for like 100 years.
She's
though.
nominated for 3 awards, but her album did not get nominated for Best Album of the Year,
Oh, I
which a
see.
lot of people are very upset with. Alessia Cara didn't make the cut for Best New Artist,
Shocking.
nor did Dea, which you brought up, Jazzy Jaws.
But I have to say that there are some conspiracy theories out there that if you win Best New Artist, it doesn't necessarily bode well for you. I was recently at a buffet in LA and I was like, that girl looks familiar. And it was Esperanza Spalding, who won Best New Artist a few years ago. And I'm like, oh, I've been wondering where she is. She's at a buffet with me. That's
Jocelyn,
cool.
Interesting.
when did you start going to buffets?
I know. I start frequenting hometown buffet here and there.
And why aren't you inviting us?
I know.
thought we were
Lunchy
close.
break.
I thought we
Hello.
were
Now
like
we know
this.
Esperanza's there.
Another one people are very upset about is Drake. He does have 8 nominations, so I think he'll let it slide. But One Dance was like the song of the summer, and it
that
didn't
song.
get a nomination for record/song of the year. People are also very upset about Rihanna. Anti isn't nominated for Album of the Year either. And lastly, which isn't really a snub, but is just more shocking, Beyonce is competing in the rock category.
Ooh.
Isn't
I
that
like
weird?
that.
Best
It's
rock
a little
performance
weird.
or something like that. But she
Yeah.
kind of did, like this
She
album
does
was
a
a
lot.
lot more edgier
Diverse.
and contemporary than her
Yeah.
previous albums. So I could see that.
Do you guys have an anticipated moment, any performances you want to see? Selena and The Weeknd gracing the stage together, maybe?
I don't think they'll go that far.
No.
I hope that they show up somewhere together making out. Like, I hope we catch them backstage, as Selena has been caught in the past making out with people backstage. I'd love to see that moment.
What if they just
TMZ,
make out on
I'm
the
counting
carpet?
on you.
What if they just make it on the carpet?
Well,
The world will end.
The world will end, and that will provide us with content.
We will be
for-
shooting until like 5 in the morning. Yep.
I do want to play a game, though, brought to us by TurboTax.
Yes, you guys.
Love
So
games.
thanks to our friends at TurboTax, we have a really fun game. It's about to get crazy and debatable. Sinead, will you please do the honors and bring in the magical box?
Absolutely.
So we have a box. Here's what's going down. Right now, we are going to each take on a name of an artist who is nominated for Album of the Year. We're going to state our case, debatable style. Then at the end, all of us will fill out our trusty pieces of chalkboard with our pick for the winner. Thank you, Rylan, for holding up that chalkboard. And we will find out
Who will win?
our big, clever winner is, thanks to our friends at TurboTax. Okay, who wants to kick it off?
Are we
Why
not
don't you
supposed
go,
to start?
Joss?
Yeah.
I'm going to kick it off first. We do have an outlier here. I'm just going to give a little shout out to my friend Sturgill Simpson here.
Sturge?
Sturge.
Who is Sturgill?
Sturge.
He's our wild card,
But
guys.
who is that?
So he's a country artist, very up and coming. Obviously, he's nominated in this category, which is a huge honor. He was just on SNL, which is sort of like an in-industry sign that like you're gonna go places. His music is very haunting.
Haunting.
In
Very
that picture, he's
haunting.
kind of like a mix between like Elijah Wood and Tobey Maguire to me.
And look at him.
very
He's got tats.
Ooh.
My thing about this
sexy.
gentleman is that I've literally never heard his name before I was researching who was up for Album of the Year.
Ireland, it's Sturgill.
I mean,
Sturgill.
I can see his pores in this. Photo
Yeah.
right
You
now.
guys, so he's a country artist.
So he's a
correct?
country artist. He is nominated for his album, which is called A Sailor's Guide to Earth. He's definitely the least well-known out of all the artists, but I feel like when our faces are touching, we're really feeling something together. So he's our wild card. I'm going to kick it off, though, with really, I think this is not even a contest in many ways, Adele. Her album, 25, changed the world. Just when you thought she couldn't outdo herself from her last album, she goes and does it again. Now, I went to see her on tour when she was promoting this album.
Oh, yeah.
She didn't change clothes, didn't dance, literally just walked around on the stage and talked to people in the audience, and it was one of the most entertaining concerts.
I was like, that sounds pretty boring.
No,
when
that's the
somebody
crazy
can
thing.
entertain you without having a huge production, you know they are worthy of Album of the Year.
And all of her songs were just
But is that
smash hits.
album of the year or is that performance of the year?
Well,
I think
both.
we're talking
I
about
think she should be
the
nominated for
album.
both. Okay, tell me you didn't buy this album and play it on repeat for a good 2 months.
No, I did, but after playing it on repeat for 2 months, I decided that it wasn't my favorite album of the year.
Whoa.
Should I jump in with
Okay,
mine?
fine. Let me see who you got,
Okay,
baby girl.
you guys, so my favorite album of the year wasn't just a musical album. This was a visual album. Beyonce has to win. First of all, you mentioned earlier that she's never won Album of the Year, which, by the way, is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And if there ever was an album in Beyonce's career to win Album of the Year, it is this one. Everyone remembers where they were, what they were wearing, who they were with when Beyonce dropped this album. It was late at night. I was naked in bed, but Beyonce changed my life that night because this album is like one of those albums that literally everyone that I know has heard. Even old people have listened
Here's
to
my
Beyonce's
problem
album.
with the album is that it is good as a whole, but none of the songs stand out as hits on their own. I know a lot of people will attack me for that, but they're not like the general popular radio hit.
But that is why I love it. It is a piece of artwork as a whole, and artists usually can't do that. Usually there are 3 or 4 songs on an album that they just throw in there.
Right.
This, from beginning to end, tells a story, and that's really hard to do. And Beyonce did it all while none of us speculated that
And
she
she
was doing
spilled
it.
so much tea on Jay-Z, sort of, which is
We
my main
think.
takeaway.
We think.
Sort of. I
think.
will say with Beyonce's though, like you said, it works from beginning to end, and that was always the intention. The intention wasn't to release an album that had like bangers every other song.
Right.
It was to tell a story. So if she was going to win an award, it would be Album of the Year because it's a fantastic album.
And I mean, Beyonce, she can do literally everything. So I don't have a problem with anyone giving Beyonce an award because it's like the girl can sing, she can dance, she can perform,
And she can rock
write.
a side
It's
pony.
crazy.
Yeah, I mean, let's get serious. So are you voting for her then?
No,
Well,
whoa,
what are you voting
Jocelyn!
for, Rylan?
I got my own homeboy. You
my
know, I
gosh.
had to have my friend Justin Bieber. Okay, this
That
haircut.
picture is terrifying.
I mean, this is the haircut that he's rocking right now, not the one you're seeing on the screen, but my actual sign. I
cut.
would like to say that Justin Bieber professionally has had the best year he's ever had. Personally, that's up for debate. But let me tell you, I know he might not be the most vocally gifted in this group. I'm not saying he can't sing, but what I am going to say about this album is almost every song on the entire album was something that you were listening to throughout the year. And it wasn't just you. Your mom was also fine listening to it. Your dad was fine listening to it.
was, like, cool
It
to
was
listen
to. It was
catchy.
really
It's like
cool.
even if you don't like Justin Bieber, you can't help but sing along to the songs
Yeah.
on his album. And I just feel like he's got it going on.
I do say out of all of these albums, Justin's album is my favorite.
Same here.
It
Justin's
is my
album's my
favorite to
favorite.
listen to. Hi, I
They're
love
just
you.
like, he makes really good music.
It's so good, but still, Beyonce has the most artistry.
Okay, well, Sinead, what do you think?
All right, well, I'm going for Drake.
Oh, that's
Drizzy,
hard.
Drizzy,
Yeah.
Drizzle.
Tell us
Drizzy
why.
Drake. All right, so One Dance, right, might not be nominated for Song or Record of the Year. But it was such a banger that it probably had the most longevity, I think, of 2016. And I think that the Grammys didn't nominate it for Song of the Year because they were going to give him Album of the Year. And that's my
Oh,
argument.
wow,
yeah.
Sinead, I love your conspiracy theory.
Thanks, guys.
All right, well, we've heard all of your arguments. Now it is time, friends, to pull out your trusty piece of chalk and your trusty piece of chalkboard and write your vote down if you've been swayed. You have 10 seconds. Go!
It's so hard. I really love Justin's.
I'm going to show you mine.
All right.
Okay,
Drop
put
it in,
the box.
Jazz. Drop it in the box.
In the box.
Do I have to put my name on it?
No.
No.
Oh, okay,
No,
good.
no. This is anonymous.
This is anonymous.
Okay, I don't want to be judged.
All right, now I will pull out the results.
She's our Vanna White.
Oh, how did we get the budget for this amazing box?
TurboTax.
Tax.
Winning.
All right, we have one vote for Beyonce. Another vote for Justin Bieber. Beyonce. And Sturgill Simpson. Okay, so it looks like you guys, Beyonce is our big winner.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I cannot believe.
It's gonna happen.
No votes for Adele, but you know what? Alas, I think she's got a long career ahead.
That
Watch,
does
Sergio's
sound-
gonna come out on top, and we're all gonna be eating our words.
Can you imagine?
Except
if
for the
he
one
was-
person here that voted for him.
So
who? I don't know who
also,
that was.
no one
know.
voted for Adele. Are you kidding me?
Listen, you know what? She just like laughs constantly. She was too busy hanging out with Harry Styles at his 23rd birthday last week to care
my
about
She
it.
wins at life. She doesn't
does.
need a Grammy,
She
you
does.
know?
Let's talk about the Super Bowl, you guys.
Ooh, I'm excited
Sports.
about it.
Yeah, well, just as anticipated as the Grammys, you guys, is the sports that's
Maybe not
happening.
in our world, but in
sports.
other people's worlds.
Well, in other people's world, people go mad crazy over the Super Bowl, and it's like a real thing.
I thought you were going to say people go to the Super Bowl.
No,
You're like,
actually,
yes.
I did my research, and Super Bowl tickets start at around $3,000, and that's to sit like basically in the next city over. So don't ask me who or why you would ever spend that kind of money. I think even if I was a millionaire, I'd be like, nah, I'm good. I watched it at home. So something that's different about the Super Bowl this year, which I kind of hate, is the fact that you can watch all the commercials before Sunday.
Oh wow.
They
Yeah.
released them all because Americans are lazy.
And
is
they
what
need
I'm
the promo, right?
I don't think that they should have done that though, because
don't
there's a
think so
lot
either.
of people in the world that are only watching the Super Bowl for the commercials. So if they want to break ratings, they should have left the
I
commercials
actually
a
disagree
mystery.
with you. I wasn't going to watch the Super Bowl this year for the first time ever just because I'm burnt out, you know? I need something else to do on a Sunday afternoon. But
You
when
act like you've spent the whole football season watching football on Sundays.
yes, I have. I've been
burnt out.
forced
I'm up
into
to
it.
here in football.
It's called sacrifice for relationships. But anyway, I wasn't going to watch the Super Bowl. But then I saw Justin Bieber's commercial for the Super Bowl that just dropped this week.
Oh, yeah,
And
look at it.
after watching this commercial, I really now believe in the power of advertising. He was so attractive. He finally wore an outfit that fit him for the first time in like 5 years. He looked studious, the glasses, the voice. I was
I think
like,
he was
after
sick
this,
because it was very raspy.
it was so
Yeah.
dark and sexy.
He does look fantastic.
He did this
though.
like a hilarious dance at the
He
end.
did!
That was giving me life. I was
He
just
has
like,
so
Justin,
much
get it.
personality in it. So after that, I was like, okay, Super Bowl, I'm gonna try you out again this year.
Wait, you're giving Justin or the Super Bowl a try because of Justin Bieber?
Solely because of Justin Bieber.
Wow,
I
the
promise
power of
you,
the
that
Biebs.
is it.
Well, I mean, that's the thing with the commercials, right? That we know we're going to see a ton of celebrities, but I just don't want to ruin the appeal because I really like watching the commercials.
Well, why don't you play a game at the Super Bowl this year? I've done this in the past. It's a great game. Get your friends together and pick something that in the next series of commercials that you're wanting to see. And everybody puts in $1 for a bet on whether they're going to see someone crying. And everybody puts $1 down. And if someone cries in the next set of commercials, then you win the pot.
Wow. Well, there is a couple of controversial commercials too.
Really?
I think it might be like Sprint is getting some that they're saying like the commercial is basically like the only way you can get out of your contract is by taking your own life. So the guy like fakes his own death and his kids are in the commercial.
Wow, that seems a little dark.
Sad.
Yeah.
It's slightly dark.
It's very dark. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll see, but we'll see what's going on with the commercials. But the cell phone companies are really taking it to the next level this year.
As they
But
always
aside from
do.
all the commercials, there is actually a game happening.
Is there? Is it just a Lady
Yeah.
I thought
Gaga
it was
concert?
just the halftime show.
No,
Yeah.
it's like it's a team that's really good and known to be really good.
Do we know
one?
who's
And
playing?
Yes, I'll tell you. So it's the Patriots, right?
Versus
They've done
who?
this like 9 times, I think. And
Tom Brady, right?
yes, if the Patriots win, this will be like his 5th Super Bowl
He
championship.
can't even wear that many rings.
No.
You have
They
to
don't
Giselle
wear
wears
them.
one at all times. I'm
Does
sure.
she?
I'm sure she
absolutely.
does.
Yeah.
That would be a great
And then
accessory.
Atlanta, the Falcons, they're the underdogs, but apparently they're really good this
They're
year.
really great, and they've been really good in like the past decade. I think they've had a few runs near to the Super Bowl or at the Super Bowl. But I just live for the human interest segments before, like when they talk about like their coach of Pee Wee football when they were 7. I love that. Then when the game starts, I'm like, bye.
I was going
And
to
then
say,
you come
you
back for halftime,
can
right?
trust our opinion on
Exactly.
sports, but let's talk about the halftime show. What's
Lady
going on?
Gaga's gonna be performing.
She is, and a lot of people are now speculating that this performance might be extra special because Beyonce might come out to do
I'll die.
their duet telephone, which I think would be incredible. Also, like fantastic publicity.
It got started swirling because of this post that Lady Gaga put on her Instagram, and she said, "Houston, you were beautiful, but what got the world freaking out is the little bee emoji afterwards."
Well, and Beyonce's from Houston.
Right.
Right. So
She was visiting her so they could do a quick run through in the living room.
Obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
Obviously.
But I just feel like Lady Gaga is keeping so cool about this performance. She's not giving many details at all. All she said is it's a crazy athletic performance.
Can't wait.
And I feel like what would be bigger than Beyonce joining her on stage? Not to steal the show, but just to be there for a quick second. And I feel like they know each other pretty well. So
It's
it
not a
could
stealing the
happen.
show. Like they have a
I mean-
song together that is a fantastic song, and also like the best song to sing at a huge performance like that because it's a
Right.
showstopper.
Yeah. But if you're Lady Gaga, this is your first time performing at the Super Bowl. Beyonce has performed several times. It's like if I'm Gaga, I want to have my moment at the Super Bowl that's mine without the help of someone who is an equally as big or possibly bigger celebrity than me. Like when Katy Perry did it with Missy Elliott, I was like,
That was
oh, that's
amazing.
cool.
Yeah,
like
'cause
two different
an accent.
genres. Like we haven't seen Missy Elliott in a long time, but Lady Gaga and Beyonce, like that's so big. If I were a Gaga, I'd want to do it by myself.
Ooh, maybe
first.
she'll bring up Tony Bennett.
Yeah, I'd be selfish.
Oh,
Are you
love that.
are you guys pumped up about the anthem?
Ooh, Luke
doing it?
Bryan.
Oh
Bryant.
yes, he's so hot.
He's so good.
Yeah.
He's really, really good. I
I
mean,
think
like,
he's a football star
He
from
looks
that
like a
photo.
football
yeah, he
star.
is. He's like your all-American Southern boy, and I want to go and like eat chicken with
Well,
him.
last year it was Lady Gaga. And
Yeah,
now
did the national
she's
anthem.
graduated.
Maybe it's
to
a
the
training ground.
halftime
Maybe
show.
Luke Bryan will be doing the full-on halftime show.
You never
Doubtful,
know.
but maybe next year.
Yeah. So that means we're gonna have Luke Bryant, Lady Gaga, and possibly Beyonce and Beyonce's unborn twins gracing that stage.
Oh my
Hopefully.
gosh.
I mean,
From our lips to God's ears.
Yeah.
Please.
Also, like, would you be jealous that Beyonce's unborn twins would have been on the Super Bowl stage and we'll never accomplish that in our lives?
Hey, never say never.
what would we do at the Super Bowl? Do any of us sing?
could, like, host
Aaron.
something.
We could do a live
musical.
stream. We could do like a live Instagram video.
Beyonce is right behind us. Welcome. No, you guys. I like to say anything's possible, but probably
dream
not.
on.
We have some
Okay.
stories of our own, though.
We do. So it's time for our clickbait story time segment. Last week, we had some real doozies. I actually wanted to hear some of the stories that didn't make it to the show, but this week we've got some good stuff too. So we're going to each of us pitch our crazy epic story that happened to us this past week. And I'm going to start this off with Sinead.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right, guys.
So if we pull Sinead's story time
We're
up,
waiting for her.
let's see what will happen.
Wow.
Sinead.
Yeah, so as you can see, I am opening up in the latest issue of the Weekly Planet. I almost died in Hollywood. So the truth is, you guys.
Wait, don't tell us
Yeah, you
yet.
didn't tell us
I'm not
the
gonna explain the story.
No.
No.
We're going to vote to
Gotcha.
see if your story is worthy. I mean, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
But
You
you
might
made it
not
out
win. I'm
alive.
glad
So
you're alive.
spoiler alert. I don't know if I want to hear the story because she made it out alive.
Yeah, clearly I
She
survived.
almost died.
I
Who's
almost
next?
spoiled the entire segment.
Yeah, no, you can't do that.
I've watched this show before.
All right, Rylan.
Oh, okay. If we pull mine up, it's very dramatic.
Oh, look at that.
Mount
Violent.
Olympus ruined my life. Just
A
in
mountain
weekly.
ruined your life?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, girl, have you never been hiking before?
Ain't no mountain high enough.
Ain't no mount. Oh yeah. Okay, you're right.
You know? Okay. I didn't know you had gone to Mount Olympus.
He goes, oh, okay, well, you're right.
All right. Okay. Yeah. All right. I guess I'll pull mine up now to see what it is. All right, you guys. I was naked on the red carpet for 50 Shades Darker.
Well, that's really appropriate,
I know.
right?
You know, it was very on brand for the film, even if it's not on brand for us.
Interesting, Aaron.
Wow.
Jazzy Jaws is next.
Oh,
I
so
can't
much
even imagine
drums
what
in my
you're
life.
cooking up.
Look at this weekly magazine. Jocelyn witnessed insane act of violence at LAX.
Oh, no.
LAX is our airport here in Los
I would
Angeles.
subscribe to that magazine with that headline.
Yeah,
think
and there's
so?
just
Take
so
all
much
my
craziness
money.
at every airport right now. It's scary.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
I know.
And
Alright.
while I do want to hear most people's, I think like I'm voting for Jocelyn.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really?
I do
Yeah.
too.
Well, you
I
had a
mean,
really like up and
Just
close
because it's like
experience.
trending in the
It is
world, and I
very
feel like you
trending.
were there.
Okay.
And like you guys are cute, but
Thank you. So this means I win. Great. Awesome. Okay, so when I say that I witnessed an extreme act of violence, clickbait, I didn't. But I did witness something at LAX. So as you guys know, last weekend, all the major airports around the country were home to some huge protests following the hashtag Muslim ban that went through, I believe, Friday of last week. So I was on a trip in Mexico as all of this was unfolding. And when I flew into LAX on Sunday to come here to work at the SAG Awards, I walked out of my terminal into what was the biggest protest I've ever witnessed. I definitely walked right into the front of it. And of course, we're social media mavens here at Clevver, so you know I had to get some iPhone footage, which we have for you guys. Check it out. I'm at LAX right now, and as you guys know, what's been going on recently, there's a huge protest. So that was just a quick clip. Like I said, I walked into the front of the protest. I was in Terminal 6, which is like at the tail end of the airport. The protest started in 1 and went all the way around the whole airport.
That many
LAX
people throughout
is
the whole
gigantic.
thing?
There was thousands and thousands of people.
Wow.
No cars were able to get in or out. But I have to say, the vibe of the whole protest was so positive, so empowering. I feel like it was just a snapshot of what democracy really is. People had all made their homemade signs. There were people of all ages, all backgrounds. A lot of the signs read things like, you know, we are all immigrants, which if you think about what America is built on, we really are all immigrants or have come very directly, closely from immigrants. So I felt really empowered and excited and thought it was so cool. People were very peaceful. No one was breaking the law.
is it still happening? Like,
I
is
think
this
it's
still going
over.
on?
I mean, I think the protests are obviously over for now.
Yeah.
But we will see what comes in the next few weeks.
I hope all of these peaceful protests can be heard. I hope that we're not just doing this to do it. I mean, even if we are, I think that's great because the world is seeing that, but I hope it's heard from the people that need to hear it.
Well, I do think it's being heard. I mean, even something as simple as the CEO of Uber, who was going to be basically working alongside Trump, and everybody started boycotting Uber on social media, and maybe not in the protest, but online.
Yeah, everyone had to
He's
hashtag
now
delete.
stepped down. He is no longer going to be working closely
Only
with him.
because what's crazy to me is he still had the intention to do so, but
Right.
then the backlash caused him to back out.
Well, here's the thing. Maybe we shouldn't judge because maybe he wanted to do something good. Use
To
that
reform.
position to
Yeah.
actually
Right,
do
right.
something.
And he was just in over his head.
Yeah, and I think that the backlash was really hurting his company.
Yeah.
So, you know, people protesting, speaking out, tweeting, sharing articles has really made a really big impact.
So are we allowed to now start using Uber again?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's up to you. I know Lyft, when you were doing the protest, Lyft
so
was going
at the
crazy.
exact same time when I came back to LA, people were running rampant deleting Uber, and I was like, I don't want to get mixed up in that action at all. So I requested a Lyft at LAX, and Lyft was so overwhelmed by all of the requests that they were receiving from people. I mean, and also there was a massive protest. It took about an hour and a half for me to get a ride.
That's
and once
insane.
once I did get a ride, my driver kept getting multiple calls from a ton of people. There were some glitches with the app, but I
Yeah.
think they're working through it.
They also sent out like an email. I got 2
press
emails.
release.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just like speaking out about it. And in New York, the taxi, like the union, the head of the taxi union in New York sent out an email as well and was like, we're no longer operating taxis for the rest of the weekend. Like, good luck.
That's
because
crazy.
like 90% of their drivers are Muslim. And he's like, I'm
We're out.
fearful. I'm
Wow.
fearful for my drivers. Like,
being out.
yeah, because this act is making people more afraid of Muslims, and I don't want to put my drivers in that position. And I thought that was like,
That's
really
crazy too, though, then, because that affects their households, their money, their
Absolutely.
children
Their
still have to
income.
eat.
Yeah.
You know, it's just unfortunate on all ends.
Well, I also think that one person's opinion doesn't mean that the rest of the country feels that way. So while I appreciate him taking those steps to like protect everyone, I do feel like a majority of people in this country aren't looking to harm other people of other religions and races. And I think a lot of us, especially at the protests, you saw so many different people there respectfully
Ran into some people from
supporting.
work while I was there,
Yeah.
actually, which
So-
I was like, hey, what's up? How's it going?
Yeah, so I think generally the consensus, at least among people that I've spoken with about this, is that everyone's kind of not in support of this and everyone's really trying to act out of love, which I really appreciate.
Definitely.
Well, let's move it along to Good Week, Bad Week.
Yeah, good week, bad,
week.
Thanks for bringing that up, Rylan, because someone had the best week ever, and it was Beyonce, you
Queen.
guys.
Gosh.
I don't know if you guys have heard or not, if you've been on the internet for maybe 30 seconds this week, but if you have, I guarantee you have heard that Beyonce is now pregnant with not one glorious child, but two glorious little queens, possibly kinks. But she announced this on Instagram, which I love. She posted this photo of her looking gorgeous with her, you can't miss it, her big baby belly, big bump. But before, everybody had this conspiracy theory that Beyonce wasn't actually pregnant, that she used a surrogate. But you cannot deny that this woman is pregnant. She looks so beautiful. And I love that she did this on Instagram. By the way, this was the fastest growing or fastest liked Instagram photo of all time. She beat out Selena Gomez, who had the Coca-Cola photo with her sipping it out of a straw. That's long in the past.
Right,
Now
that
Beyonce
peaked at like 6.3 million or
yeah,
something.
Beyonce had like 6.8 in the first day. It's now over 9 million
That's
likes
insane.
right now and counting. But these photos that she released, it wasn't just this one. There were probably 10 or 15 photos from a photo shoot that she did were so, so beautiful. And I think she released these photos because she knew that she was going to be at the Grammys. And she didn't want to announce it at the Grammys because she announced her pregnancy before at an award show. Been there, done that. When you're Beyonce, you have to reinvent your pregnancy announcement. And I am so glad, but now I've got lots of photos of Beyonce I can print around my office to decorate with.
These are so cute.
Yeah, I love that
it.
she's being so public about it. I feel like it's great that we kind of get to go on a journey and really appreciate even the pregnant body, because I feel like a lot of the time these types of photos are really like shunned upon, like nobody really wants them, but I think it's cool that Beyonce is making them popular.
And so fashionable too. Like,
Well, yeah, that's the problem, is that she looks better than most people when she's pregnant, when people are not pregnant.
it's not
you know?
even, oh my gosh, this photo. My heart, although someone did post on Instagram this past week, like a photo of a Blue Ivy with a sad face and her
I saw
hand
that.
gripping. And it was like when your inheritance goes from 3 billion or a billion to 333 million. It was so, so funny.
My favorite thing that I saw was a photo of Kim Kardashian bawling, and it was like, Kanye, we have to have triplets.
Oh
and I was
my
like,
God.
it's so accurate, like the worst day of Kim's
But
life.
I will
accurate.
say too, Kim Kardashian this week also launched a children's clothing line with Kanye. And someone tweeted her and said, retweet if you want Kim Kardashian to have a baby to wear these clothes this year. And she did retweet it, and everybody thought that it was because she wanted to steal the thunder away from Beyonce's announcement, because you know they have like this secret feud that may or may not actually be a thing. So I found that very interesting that Kim wanted to retweet that out.
I think that's cute.
The
Beyonce
world-
doesn't need to feud with anyone.
No.
And the world basically flipped out when they found out she was pregnant. But
Right.
I
I
do.
did.
Yeah, the whole office was freaking out.
Screaming.
They were screaming. Somebody, though, that had, I'm going to say, the worst week, although
Oh, no.
she's recovering graciously,
sad.
is one of my favorites, Britney Spears.
Oh,
It
Britney.
happened during her show in Vegas at Planet Hollywood. Take a look. All right, so she had a casual nip slip.
Just a casual
Just casual. My thing, well, I have two things. I
Yes,
feel
were
like
you at this show? Because you're at her show every day.
I wish I was at this show. If I could live in Vegas to go to Britney Spears every night, I would. But I feel like A, she should have some tape, go
Yeah.
through the double-sided tape, and B, I'm not a girl, but I feel like you would feel that. Don't you feel like
Like
you
a
would
little
know?
coldness on your nipple, like,
yeah.
"Woo!"
Everyone could see it. You don't think you could feel that?
Listen,
I
if
don't
you're
know.
in the zone and you're
Dancing
Britney
and sweating.
Spears and you were giving it, and I love that she was still committed, even though that boob was out, she was not going to let it stop her.
Right.
I think you don't feel it. Actually, this actually happened to me on stage one time. My most embarrassing moment of my life. I was in theater. I was in a show. My pastor and all of my youth group was in the front row, and I had a transformation scene where I was supposed to take this dress off and smoke and turn around, and I had this really beautiful dress on. Well, the dress was a halter, and it had tied behind my neck, and it had come undone. And so I turned around and literally full frontal in front of my pastor and my youth group, and I had no idea. So it's easy to not know. The only way I realized is on the front row, my pastor was waving at me, and I caught him out of the corner of my eye, and he was like, "Your boobs are out." It was the most embarrassing moment. So when you're committed, you don't know. And it doesn't really matter, honestly.
Hey,
I
We're
thought we
talking
should
about
write her
her.
a thank you card. Her boobs look good.
I
they look
agree.
great.
I think if anything, this is the best week ever for
I think
her.
so
Yeah.
too.
But I feel like if that happened to you, you would probably be thinking, oh, this is not good. But the good thing about your story is nobody caught video, or at least not to my knowledge, or we could have used it
They
for
haven't
B-roll.
unsurfaced yet.
It will be unlocked later. But I did think it was a little funny tidbit of information. You guys, that's the show for this
fun.
week.
We covered a lot today.
Do any of you have any questions that just popped to the top of your head?
I mean, are you guys going to watch the Super Bowl?
Yes,
Hashtag
absolutely.
sports. Who
What
do
do
you
you
think's
what do
going
you
to
guys
win?
do for the Super Bowl?
I don't know.
Eat?
Mostly eating.
Are you guys going to watch for sure?
Yeah.
Definitely not. But I'm going to tune into Lady Gaga's concert, and fingers crossed. Do
Lady
you
Gaga's
think?
concert.
Do you think that Beyonce will be at Lady Gaga's concert, which is sandwiched with some balls?
Yeah, okay.
She literally
Good
just
one,
changed the Super
Jocelyn.
Bowl. I won't be watching the Super Bowl, but I will be watching the concert on NBC.
Will you? It's going to be great.
Yeah, I'll watch
Tune
the
in.
game.
Yeah, I just don't like the
Yeah.
opening or closing act, you know? All right, you guys, let us know what you think
We're
in the
so
comment section
annoying.
below. I also want to know what you think about the Grammys, what's going to
yeah.
happen, what's your favorite part. You guys can follow all of us on social media. You can also follow Clevver at Clevver on all things social. We love you so much, and we'll be back here next Saturday. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Click to the left for last week's episode breaking down Justin Bieber's Love Life, or click to the right to learn who replaced Camila Cabello in Fifth Harmony on Rumor Patrol. This episode was brought to you by Intuit TurboTax with live on-demand help when you need it. Relax, there's TurboTax.